Previously on Balls.
I say, guys, if you go to www.tokodds.com and also at Top Odds Compare on Twitter, you'll find Top Odds, the people that back this show, Bollockz. Brandon is the guy that speaks to us most week. We've also got Len from World Sports Betting, and they take us through some of the good games that you can bet on. Brandon, is that you?
Yes,
Brandon, I see you guys have got a soccer RSA this week. Woohoo! I love that. I love it, mate. And if you go down the listeners, if you go down the tokodds.com, the green menu on the left, after you've obviously seen a brilliant video of me on the front page from last week, and we'll have the new one up this week, talking, repeating what we're saying today. We've actually got Pirates versus Amazulu, tonight's big game. Pirates fresh from stuffing Al Ahly, the African champions, 3-0. In Alguna, in front of no fans at all. Tonight, Pirates versus Amazulu, where there might be a few fans, a few people shouting Asutu like me, and a few people shouting for the Buccaneers. I'm just looking at your odds on that, Brandon. What do you think, mate? How can they lift themselves after a magnificent Champions League win? How can Pirates lift themselves against Amazulu?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say to you, I mean, it must have taken a lot out of them. I'm not sure when the game was. Was it on Monday or Tuesday?
The Al Ahly game was on Sunday. They then had to fly back. They stayed overnight. They didn't get back till Tuesday morning, I think it was, and they now have to play Amazulu. Let's have a look at the odds on that. I've got them in front of me now.
Well, the best odds in the market at the moment are Betting World. They're offering 5 to 10 Pirates. I think that's a little bit short. I mean, Lance Michaels, Alan Bookmaker, and WSB, that's sports betting, they're a little bit shorter, 4 to 10. They're respecting Pirates a little bit more. I don't know so much. I don't know what sort of side Amazulu have. I'm not a big follower of theirs, but gee, that's a little bit short in the PSL for me, especially playing on Sunday.
Yeah, and Coach Rossley has made some very astute signings at Amazulu. He also wiggled them out of the relegation zone, didn't he? Quite spectacularly. Went from football analyst to coach, and absolutely, the side was slightly limping along in the bottom. I think in bottom spot at one time or second bottom when Rossley took over, and he's taken them. He took them to mid-table safety quite quickly. And we're now looking. So if you're an Amazulu fan, just to clear this up for anyone that doesn't sports bet a lot, because obviously in Britain it's a much bigger thing betting on football than horse racing. If you go in today to a bookmaker's, right, and you put £10, 10 Rand on Amazulu to win, you will get £70 back. There's 6 to 1 to beat Orlando Pirates. If you go in right now, or if you go into our site and try and take your bet through World Sports Betting, or go to one of the betting shops, you will put down your
100 Rand.
You put down 100 Rand, and you're going to get 700 Rand back. There's 6 to 1. You get your stake back, and you get 6 to 1, which is, I think, a very interesting bet tonight, given that Pirates may be distracted by what's happening in the Champions League.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, you would, if you were the astute punter, like we all claim to be, you would take the 62 to 10 that LM Bookmaker are offering. So you would get 620 Rand profit for your 100 Rand, plus you'd get your 100 Rand back. Yeah, those are fairly big odds. Like we said, Pirates being away. I kind of fancy the draw in this game. I think 33 to 10 WSB and LM Bookmaker offering. I think that's fairly big. I don't know if Amazulu will beat Pirates, but maybe to make 330 Rand profit on your 100 Rand might not be a bad call in this game.
That's right. I mean, it's not a bad call at all. We've then got Wuffa, as they like to call it, the MTN 8, which effectively, obviously being 8 sides, starts with quarterfinals over the weekend. Wits v Bloem Celtic, Platinum Stars v Free State Stars, Chiefs v Amatucks, interesting Amatucks. I have different views on them. And then Pirates against Supersport United, which is obviously, the Kevin Johnson, the new coach of Supersport United, got off to a 4-1 win in their league campaign. Quite a lot of good new players, all bought for free. And then, again, Orlando Pirates, maybe with half an eye on Africa. How do you feel? Is there any particular bets amongst those four this weekend that you'd like to pick out, Brandon?
Well, I know you're a bit of a Vitsy from our talk last, but they came out and drew the game. I didn't watch the game. I don't know if you watched it, so I don't know.
I watched it.
If they're just trying to put things together.
Yeah. No, I watched half of it, mate. Paul Mitchell, the MD of C of M Sports Group, is sitting next to me, and we went to a quite interesting tournament, didn't we, Paul? Where there was pre-season at Mill Park, Wits, Platinum Stars, Free State Stars and Golden Arrows, and Wits won that quite comfortably. And I thought Wits would get off to a roaring start, but in the end they drew 0-0 against Plat Stars. So
they played very well though, Wits, to be fair, last week. I mean, Platinum Stars finished second last year. I mean, they've lost one or two players, but they've replaced as well. No, I thought Wits were... Look, Platinum Stars had, I think, one clear chance in the second half, but Wits had 4 or 5 chances, so I think Wits had 15 shots at goal. So, no, I think it's a decent away point, that, for Wits. And I fancy Wits this season very strongly. I think under Gavin they'll be very well organised and made some astute signings as Hunter usually does.
I hope you guys got on Merit United. That was my tip last week.
You did, didn't you?
I mean, I know. So I hope you guys are listening, and I hope the punters out there are listening in terms of the value that top odds can give them in this MTN top 8, the Waka Waka. I believe that SuperSport United against Pirates must be a good bet. I mean, Pirates will have played. I mean, they're playing tonight, and then they need to play on Sunday morning or Sunday at 2:30 again. 5-2 SuperSport United. I think that's a good bet. I don't know. Do Pirates have the squad? I know you tell it to Roger Desau earlier. Do they have the squad to do it?
Could be a good bet, that, at 5-2. Although we watched the SuperSport game last week and they did very well, albeit against 10 men.
Yeah.
When they were playing 11-11 and before the man got sent off, I thought they were under pressure.
Yeah.
But I think 5-2, it could be worth a little bit of an investment, Neil, there.
Absolutely. I mean, Brandon, it's fascinating, isn't it? At the start of the season, I was going through all the numbers of signings. Everyone on Twitter was asking me how many are there at Chiefs, how many. They've all made at least 7 signings. I mean, apart from my ex-Cape Town, who've forgotten that it's a transfer window, it looks like, apart from selling, it looks like, all new squads at all these places. Of course, it's not. There's a lot of established players like Teke Medisa at Sundowns. I thought was spectacular over the weekend. One of your old hands at Sundowns, even though they made all these signings. So, yeah, you're looking at a SuperSport side completely changed in attitude. What we found out after the game, Paul and I, is that with Gavin Hunt gone and Kevin Johnson in, of course, everything changes. Kevin likes to go to a hotel before the game, right? And Gavin never did. So it changes everything for the players. And Kevin likes to have an enormous post-match analysis, whereas Gavin didn't necessarily. And speaking to them, in rhapsodies afterwards, the bits that I can remember, it struck me that SuperSport had gone through an enormous cultural change. And although they won 4-1, I'd be looking at Orlando Pirates for that one personally.
Oh, really? I mean, were you guys impressed with Chiefs at all? Were you impressed with Chiefs at all? If you go into that game, they're also fairly short.
To be fair, Brandon,
9-20
in parts of the game, the first 10-15 minutes, they did very, very well. But Black Aces looked a little bit all at sea, which they would do with all the new players they've got. But to be fair, second half, Aces were very unlucky not to come away with a draw there. Kune kept them in the game. So, look, I think what you're going to find...
As a punter, you're having a look at this MTN 8 fixture against Tuks University of Pretoria. You surely can't take 9-20 Chiefs if you're not impressed with them in the PSL, in their first week. Do you think they might be a little bit better? I'm just trying to get some information here, in terms of
I always
the punter sitting looking at this.
Well, I always think Chiefs at home or Chiefs anywhere, really, if they play at Montbella or they play at home, they're worth 1 point before you start because there's going to be 40,000 Chiefs fans and 10 University of Pretoria. So I think that's always worth a look at before you start. And as Shakes always says on Super Disky, if they play at night time, they're always worth it again. But I think the Chiefs Tuks game could be interesting. I think this year Tuks are going to go through a second year transition. I think for that game, I'd put my money on Chiefs.
Okay, well, I think they're a little bit short, but I mean, you never know. You put your money down and you hope for the best. I'd be looking at maybe, as I say, the draw again. But Kaiser Chiefs, maybe the 40,000, another man on the field. You never know.
Absolutely right, Brandon. Last night Chelsea got stuffed 3-1 by Real Madrid, but still we haven't really come into the proper. Ronaldo got to in this international tournament. But we haven't come into the proper season yet in England. And, of course, we're already into it in the PSL. Very, very attractive opening weekend. I thought, apart from Wits, not many 0-0 draws. And obviously, this weekend, on Sunday, Man United versus Wigan in what we used to call the Charity Shield, now the Community Shield. How's your odds on that lot? Man United under new ownership against relegated Wigan, also under new ownership. Some interesting odds on that. A 12-1 Wigan, obviously.
I mean, you sit and think about it, and David Moyes is smiling. You know, it's going to be his first trophy, or we'd like to think so at least. And what a way to start the season against a championship side. If you can't win that, I mean, then I don't know. And I'm a Man United fan, so
yeah, exactly.
I don't know if I'll be jumping on the 3-10. I might be looking at the in-running betting there. Little offer on our front page and see, maybe Wigan can hold him to half-time. I see that Wigan have signed a new player. I don't know if he'll be available, like James McLean from Sunderland. I don't know if he'll be available for this fixture. I don't know how much of a difference he'll make. But yeah, 12-1 Wigan. I mean, you can never discount Wigan on what we saw last season. I don't know if they'll be the same side under Martinez. With Martinez leaving, so it's going to be a tough one.
Mate, all I think is imagine if in David Moyes' first big game at Wembley, with all the TV cameras on, the start of the season, we suddenly find a situation where Wigan beat them. That would be so bad, because David Moyes also hasn't made his great, opening signing. We were talking about that as well. We were talking about that with the Mole a little bit later, about where David Moyes goes to make his marquee signing. But 12-1 in anyone's terms is not a bad bet on a 2-horse race for Wigan.
Most definitely. United have been leaking goals in the preseason. I don't know how much a punter can read into that. I mean, if you read into that, Liverpool should be a good bet to win the title. So I don't know. I don't know how much information we can draw from these. But I mean, he left a couple of big guns on the bench. Didn't play Kagawa against the side in Sweden. So I don't know I don't know if he's trying to feel the side out and see, what his best 11 are. But yeah, I don't think I'll be lumping on the 3-10 on what I've seen in pre-season.
Okay, mate, great stuff. Brandon, thanks for that. Well, I guess we should have a quick look at the golf, shouldn't we? Just before we go, we've got the final major of the season, haven't we? And you know what? I haven't looked at this. Brandon, can you help me? Go down the left-hand side of www.topodds.com, people. Click on golf, and you'll find the PGA Championship, the last major of the season. It's all been shared so far. Tiger Woods, desperate to get some kind of a major under his belt after his long major drought. Rory McIlroy, I believe, is the holder from last year when he won 2 majors. And you've got Justin Rose, the South African-bred Englishman who won a major this season, has to be amongst the favourites. Who's yours, Brandon? Who's your pick?
Oh, sure. I don't know if I can back Tiger Woods at 4-1, 92. Yes, you win a pre-tournament by 10 shots, but only Mick Clifton does that kind of thing and win the next week. I don't know. I like Henrik Stenson. I don't know why. I think he's been there and thereabouts, just hasn't gone on with it. And he's my pick for this tournament. I mean, you can never discount Adam Scott. I think Charles Schwartzel played very well in the British Open, but I mean, the American Tour is a different story, the PGA. So it's a wide open race. I don't know if I'd jump on Tiger at 4-1. I don't know who you guys like.
Well, the only thing is that we were saying that when Phil Mickelson won the week before in the last major, we were all saying, well, he can't possibly win 2 in a row, and he bloody did. And then we have this situation where Tiger Woods was so good last week, shot a 61, didn't he, first round, and very nearly kind of threatened that world record 59 situation. And he does actually look like he might be back to something like his best, but 4-1's too short for me. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, if Tiger's 2 behind, I think he's going to be 2-1. So that's the gamble you take as a punter and maybe lay him off. But if Tiger Woods doesn't hit the front, he's like a Pierre Strydom in horse racing. He's a good judge of pace, and when he's ahead of the field, he stays there. But to come from 2 or 3 shots back, he hasn't done it that often. And I mean, I don't know if you saw in the British Open, I don't think he's won a major coming from behind. So he needs to get that good start. He's in good form. But I'm not taking 4-1, and I think you're right. I think you need to look for value somewhere else.
What's really funny is, of course, if you go in and put 100 rand on Ernie Els to win, you'll get 100 times that. He's 100-1 Ernie Els. He was quite short odds for the Open, but for the PGA we've got him down here at 110-1 and 100-1. The Big Easy. It might be a big easy way to make money. Brandon, thanks, mate.
Cheers, Brandon.
Let's see what happens.
Thanks a lot. Cheers,
I'm particularly interested, obviously, in tonight's Amazulu Pirates match. 6-1 Amazulu.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
There it is. Top odds. The guys who back us here at Bollockz. Still joined by MD of Sea of Umber Sports Group, Paul Mitchell. And we've got to go to the Mole next. The Mole will be telling us about Suarez. He'll be telling us about, all those injured players that want the transfers. And obviously Cristiano Ronaldo. Will he stay at Real Madrid? Will he sign this big new deal that Marca in Spain said he had actually signed? I still don't think he has.
This is Balls Visual Radio.